I love to see where Sacramento. Thank you. Coastal North Carolina. I just love seeing everybody. We got people. They're out there. They're still breathing. They're still alive. They're still smiling. We got Bakersfield. We've got Ohio. We've got another Ohio. We got Los Angeles. We got California. And I'm going to make my way right now to make sure that Facebook is working really well, because I've got to go do some hearts and some likes and some fun while Jen, boy, get ready, guys. I mean, this is an important episode, right? We know where we're at historically. We know what's going on in the country, and Jen's going to talk about it. So let everybody know to get on this episode. Obviously, we're not making claims, guys, but why not be as healthy as you possibly can? And we've got some solutions, obviously, for that. And Jen's going to be talking about that in just a minute. We do have, it looks like we're live right now. Let me say hi to some people. Liliana, I see you out there on Facebook. Yay, how you doing, Sherry? Great to have you guys here. So please let everybody know out on Facebook land if you want to come join us out on Facebook. We're taking reservations right now. Come jump on. We got a table for you. Come sit down, get comfy. I know lots of you have a lot of screen time right now, so this is perfect. And we're going to get started. Jen's got so many cool things. How you doing, Julia? Great to see your name up there. Hey, Kim, hello. We got Vegas here. We got Maryland. We got Laguna Beach. We're thinking about California. Obviously, there's some hot spots all over the country. Our prayers and thoughts are your way. We're all dying, right, to have the best health and to really make sure that all of our family and loved ones are taken care of at this time. And so with that, I am going to turn the time over to Dr. Jen Meyers. Here she is. Dr. Jen, how you doing?
I am doing so well, Craig. It's been way too long, I must say.
No kidding.
Way too long. Hi, everybody. How are you all? It's been too long. I must say I've missed this. I've missed you all. I've missed your comments. I've missed being able to share such an amazing wealth of knowledge and our latest research and everything that we're doing over here on this end and what we're doing clinically as well. As Craig said, this is a huge time for us. This is something I don't think any of us have ever experienced before. This gene could not have come at a better time. We're talking about IL-6, of course, or interleukin-6. Which if you talk to John, then he's going to say it sounds like a Star Wars name, which I would agree. So yes, interleukin-6, right? So I did tie in, and we'll go through it all. I'm not starting quite yet, but we are going to tie in a little bit about what's going on in our country right now. We can't deny, we can't stay away from the elephant in the room, which is understanding that there is an epidemic of this particular virus going on right now. And this is why we want to help support you all and have you understand that we are supporting you as much as we can. Of course, not making any claims here by any means, but I am going to bring in some research based on this particular SNP and the relationship or the kind of balance between, or what's happening between this SNP and COVID-19. So without further ado, shall we? So talking about IL-6 or interleukin-6. So as we know, and maybe we don't know, but I'm going to tell you, this gene actually encodes a cytokine, right? So a cytokine, I'm going to talk a lot of words, and this is what we love, are peptides. Peptides are these important cell signalings, right, that happen in our immune system, right? So this gene encodes a cytokine or a peptide that actually functions in inflammation and also in the maturation or the production of our B cells, right, which are a type of a white blood cell. This gene is a system in our inflammatory response. So what happens is when our body is introduced to some sort of virus, bacteria, trauma, anything like that, it tends to ramp up and say, okay, we need to send all these B cells, these cytokines, this inflammation to this area to protect it. And that way it can heal. Once it's healed, the body goes back down to homeostasis and everything goes back down to normal. However, if we do have a variation, whether it's a yellow or red, homozygous, heterozygous, within this variant, sometimes we can see more of an aggressive immune and inflammatory response, and our body overreacts to things, right? Which we don't want. We want a healthy, balanced immune and inflammatory response. So some of the things that this thing can do is it's actually what we call an endogenous pyrogen, right? So this is a substance that's, it can induce these things, these endogenous pyrogens. Let me get my language correct. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a while. I'm like off kilter a little bit. Sorry. And what these things do is they are a substance, which could be bacteria, virus, fungus, anything like that, that's actually produces a fever in our body, right? So when this is actually brought into our system and into our serum or our blood, it can induce a fever in us, which is normal. That's a normal body response, right? However, again, we start having an overreaction of inflammatory and immune response. We get an aggressive fever, more of a higher fever. Some people see this, and that's where there's going to be this connection that we're going to talk about too. So it can actually have this capability of inducing a fever in people with autoimmune disease or even infections such as the COVID-19, which we'll talk about. Poor Craig, I'm sorry, he's going to be flipping back and forth with me. He's such a rock star. So with this particular SNP, right, the interleukin 6, the function, what I like to say of this gene is actually being able to help with a wide variety of inflammatory associated disease states, right? Lots of awesome words, including our susceptibility to, let's say, diabetes, systemic juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, viruses, Epstein-Barr, things like that, the RNA virus of COVID-19. So we can be a little bit more prone to be more aggressive towards these things and lead toward these things if we don't support it and implement a healthy lifestyle. We're not doom and gloom, and you know that. I never, ever, 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 ever say that. So now let's address that elephant in the room, right? So let's talk about the COVID-19. So we all understand there is this pandemic of this particular virus, the coronavirus, right? Which is an RNA virus, as we say. It does affect our lung function as well as our immune and inflammatory response. So individuals with this IL-6 variant or gene, the question is, can they be more susceptible to complications of the virus? So let's look at that, what that means before we even discuss the ingredients involved. So research is actually showing that baseline interleukin 6 or IL-6 in blood work, of course, was significantly increased in severe type of this COVID-19 virus, right? So it is actually also closely related to the maximal body temperature during hospitalization. So we start to notice in CT scans, which Craig did beautifully, a CT scan, you could see that thermogenics, that heat by the picture that he put up there, which was a great visual. He did that all on his own. He's such a rock star. So we can actually see that within this particular virus, people who have higher levels of interleukin 6 in their blood tend to have more heat, more of a high fever, right? So that's what we're starting to see with that. And that can also be associated with the genetic variant as well. So this increase of this baseline of this IL-6 in the blood work suggests in research that it's more positively correlated to the severity of the COVID-19. So they actually did a study amongst 30 severe type patients, right, whose IL-6 was actually assessed prior to and after the treatment. And they saw significant increase in IL-6 through CT scan, of course, as well, and through blood work, and found that afterwards, after the virus had left the body, the people were healing, that it actually came down quite significantly as well. So they see an increase with the virus and the severity of it, and as treatment's going along and they're doing better and better and better, their IL-6 actually decreases. So there's definitely a connection here that's made. There were quite a few cases that showed that the IL-6 did progress with the progression of the disease. It's actually suggested that this is a great marker for disease severe cases of this COVID-19. And they're actually referring to, of course, the blood or serum levels of IL-6, knowing that this particular SNP not only has kind of an effect on how the immune system functions, whether it's aggressive or not, is our on switch, right, for our immune and inflammatory response. So understanding that can also show if there's a more aggressive chance for somebody who has this particular variant and they're exposed to the virus, what it could possibly do to them. Now, of course, there's so many other factors that are involved here, guys. This is not just doom and gloom. I'm not saying that if you have this genetic variant and you're exposed to this virus, that it's going to be detrimental to you. I'm just giving the facts and information that, yes, there is a connection here. So we want to, of course, make sure that we take the very best care of ourselves that we don't want to exacerbate this disease by any means. So if we understand what that means by understanding the predisposition or the susceptibility to this disease by certain individuals, then we can be proactive and preventative, right? And that's what we're doing here is proactive and preventative care and wellness. Not making claims, saying anything about COVID-19, but I really wanted to make sure that we brought that connection in, guys, and let you know that, you know what, you're doing something, which is amazing. With your nutrition, you're doing something. So think about with this SNP, and this is what I tell my patients. You guys get all my gems. Think about a bug bite. Craig's got a bug bite slide up here. So see that bug bite, right? So having the IL-6 variant or a variation within this genetic SNP, whether it's yellow or red, means that sometimes instead of having a bug bite that's just, you know, you get a bug bite, it's a little red dot, no big deal, normal size, normal healing, you know, everything happens normally. It actually can blow up into something much bigger. And somebody looks at it and goes, oh my gosh, it's red and it's hot and it's hot to the touch and it's inflamed and it's swollen. And this went from something small into something much bigger. That's crazy, right? That's what happens internally or can happen internally with this IL-6 gene, right? So think about if that happens on the surface of our skin being the largest organ of our body. Imagine what happens when we're introduced internally to some sort of trauma, whether it be physical or emotional, some sort of bacteria, some sort of virus. That same expression can happen on the inside of the body. Food intolerances, allergies, chemicals, all these different things can initiate that type of reaction. So anything that's going to trigger a possible immune response can actually be over aggressive and overreactive if this gene is present. And if we're not supporting it and we don't have a great lifestyle and everything else that goes with it, which can in turn leave us to be more susceptible to autoimmune disease and complications of different viruses and bacteria and fungus. So what do we need to do about that, right? We want to restore a healthy immune and inflammatory response. We don't want to suppress the immune system. We don't want to aggravate it or agitate it. We want to support a healthy immune and inflammatory response. So if you have this particular gene, this IL-6, right, in either a yellow or red, you are receiving support with your nutrition, which is great. And even if you don't have it, you're still receiving all these amazing nutrients that are helping support your immune system in general. So that's something that we want to remember. We're not making the claim. What we want to do is help restore a healthy immune and inflammatory response. So let's discuss, which is awesome, right? So awesome. Let's discuss these two anti-inflammatory and immune restoring herbs that are actually part of this boost, as we call it, within IL-6. So first off, organic turmeric extract, right? We've talked about this before, and it's a great spice, right? This is the main spice in an Indian dish of curry, of course. And I don't know anybody here that likes Indian or Mediterranean food, but I do. So turmeric is a fabulous addition to that. And not only that, but things that we can put in our own food and also drink as a shot, which we'll talk about that as well. It's actually arguably, amongst many, in fact, I'm on agreement with this, to be one of the most powerful herbs on the planet in fighting and potentially reversing disease. This is what is said in research: fighting and potentially reversing disease. Reversing disease, how cool is that, right? So the health benefits of turmeric are incredibly vast and are very thoroughly researched. Over 12,500 peer-reviewed articles published proving turmeric's benefits. That's huge. So as we know, turmeric is this great spice. It's been long recognized for its medicinal properties. It's received both medical as well as scientific interest in how this works and how we can use it, not only just as a source from culinary enthusiasts too, like chefs and such, but also how we can use it to support our immune and inflammatory response. It is a major source of a polyphenol or curcumin, as we know as well. So it aids in what it does is aiding in the management of oxidized, I'm sorry guys if you hear my thing going off, of oxidized and inflammatory conditions, right? So things like metabolic syndrome, arthritis, anxiety, hyperlipidemia, which is elevated cholesterol, triglycerides, HDL, or excuse me, LDL, not HDL, HDL, which is good cholesterol, way well high, so sorry. And it also can help in the management of what we call exercise-induced inflammation and muscle soreness, right? So after we exercise, of course, we know it's going to cause a little bit of an inflammatory and immune response, which is good, but we don't want it. If we have this gene, it can be over aggressive, right? IL-6 is one of those first inflammatories that comes in post-exercise and even during exercise. So if we can maintain a healthy, we recover from muscle soreness and achiness and exercise a little bit quicker. And a lot of our active people, which I hope you all are doing currently right now to help with your immune system. So this actually puts turmeric on the top of the list. It's one of the most frequently used medicinal herbs in all of science that we've seen thus far. It has been used for decades in alternative and holistic medicine. This is not a newbie, guys. This is something that's been around for a very long time. Actually, there's a particular journal, Oncogene, I believe it's called. It published a study that showed that several elevated anti-inflammatory compounds found in turmeric happens to be one of the most effective anti-inflammatory compounds in the world. That's kind of huge. So this antioxidant and anti-inflammatory property, of course, are two of the most primary mechanisms of this particular herb, which is why it's in here, right? Inflammation and immune. We want to restore a healthy response within inflammation in our immune system. And it also is known to help with various conditions in this particular study. So it's been known to help improve systemic or blood level markers of oxidative stress, right? Oxidative stress, as we know, I've talked about before, oxidative stress increases free radicals and can cause problems with us being able to heal properly and influence our predisposition for chronic disease, which we don't want. And again, think about the virus. Virus comes in the body. We want to make sure that our immune system is healthy and restored and balanced enough to be able to go after this and to be able to fight this off without us having to experience these chronic and these terrible symptoms that a lot of these people are going through. So there's a lot of research and evidence as well that antioxidants such as superoxide dismutase, SOD, we know that SNP as well, and it actually can support our SOD functioning, which helps free radicals and oxidative stress. As you know, there's always a link and a tie-in between these SNPs. We are a whole person. We are not pieces, and that's how intracellularly and biochemically we should look at each other or ourselves. So turmeric is noted also in studies to help with a protein complex. It's called the NFKB pathway to control the transcription of DNA itself, cytokine, which are these peptides again within our white blood cell, cytokine production, and even cell survival. It's kind of huge. So activation actually is increased by certain things, right? So pro-inflammatory cytokines, which we want in a healthy, balanced way, but not to be overly aggressive. Things like various disease-causing viruses, environmental pollutants, chemicals, physical, sociological stress, physiological stress, high glucose levels, UV radiation, cigarette smoke, all these other disease-causing factors can activate this in an unhealthy way. So we just want to make sure we support it and restore it. And guys, I know you're throwing stuff up in the chats, and I'm so sorry. I see it, but I apologize if I'm not answering any of your questions. But I do see it. I am taking a mental note, I promise. So of course, as you can see, turmeric has not only received worldwide attention for its multiple health benefits, because it's an antioxidant and because it has anti-inflammatory mechanisms. Research also suggests that it can help in the management of oxidation and oxidative stress and inflammatory conditions, right? Like I said, so anything that metabolic syndrome, arthritis, anxiety, any of those things, it can actually help with that, including these viruses that come into play as well. So we want to normalize or regulate the immune system, right? We want to restore it. We want a healthy immune and inflammatory response. And we know that's what we talk about a lot. This can help support our immune system in a healthy way during this particular time of this COVID-19 pandemic as well. So being one of the top nutrients in the world, whether we're talking about it in the form of powder, extract, pills, doesn't matter. What turmeric does for our bodies and how our bodies respond to turmeric is absolutely amazing. So there's some great ways to get turmeric into your body. You can sprinkle it onto your food, of course. It does change the color, so be aware of that. I like to put it on absolutely everything. And there's even, Craig put here as well, as I asked him, the turmeric shot, which is the best shot that you can take right now, actually. Help boost your immune system, restore your immune system in a healthy way, especially right now. So again, turmeric, vitally important, helps restore a healthy immune and inflammatory response, which is vital during this time, whether you have this IL-6 gene variant SNP or not. It's still something that's going to help support a healthy immune and inflammatory response. Next is bamboo. So we have bamboo leaf extract, or silica as it's called. So bamboo leaf stems and shoots, of course, are the primary source of nutrition for actually a lot of the strongest animals in the world, which I found interesting. Some like the Indian, I believe it's the Indian elephant, and even the giant panda are very, very nutrient dense with using bamboo to help feed them, which is pretty awesome. Keeps them strong. We want to keep strong ourselves, right? So what we found with bamboo leaf extract is they have a lot of flavonoids. They're very rich in flavonoids, right? And these are things that help with anti-cancer prevention. And I'm not saying we can prevent, you know me, no claims, I'm just showing what research shows. Anti-cancer prevention, anti-inflammatory, right? And also antioxidation effects that the bamboo has. So these flavonoids are super powerful antioxidants and have anti-inflammatory properties that help support the immune system. Again, we want to support and restore the immune system as much as we can, especially during this time. So with this bamboo leaf extract, we also have noted there's been positive effects on of course, our immune system and our inflammatory response without the harsh side effects, which I think is super important, that a lot of these steroids and other things can have on our bodies. A lot of these NSAIDs, a lot of these anti-inflammatories and immune suppressants can have. We're looking more at immunomodulators, things that help support a healthy immune system, not an immunosuppressant, right? We don't want to suppress the immune system. We want to restore it, right? That creates a healthy response right now, especially. So it can create a healthier cellular response as well. The flavonoids and bamboo extract are noted, which is kind of cool and existing, and certain epidemiological and preclinical studies to prevent considerable evidence, they say, of the natural alternative therapies against chronic disease and inflammation. Sorry, I have little notes, but I don't really I just have to remember off the top of my head, and sometimes I get a little distracted on my brain. But these mechanisms behind the recent studies and research have demonstrated that these particular flavonoids, as in bamboo leaf extract, can actually inhibit these regulatory enzymes and things that are important for controlling mediators involved in inflammation. That's a lot of big words. In other words, bamboo leaf extract promotes circulation and can inhibit allergic reactions and help with restoring a healthy immune and inflammatory response. Combined with turmeric, of course, its synergistic effect is incredible and very powerful on the immune system and on how our body responds to these certain things that come into the system to attack, whether that's a virus, bacteria, trauma, whether that's physical, whether that's emotional. We all like to be powerhouses here. That's super important. So when it comes to this relationship with COVID-19, it's been found in research that bamboo extract is actually useful in helping with these deeper respiration or respiratory infections. As we know, COVID-19 has a huge effect on our respiratory system. That's why there's so many there's so much need out there for these ventilators. I swear, guys, I'm fine. I talk so much, I start to lose my voice. You know that. The coronavirus itself and influenza, we still need to talk about that, right? And influenza can actually lead to pneumonia, and we know that. So this actually helps with that deeper respiratory infections, including pneumonia, coronavirus, and bronchitis, all those things that have an effect on how our lungs function. So this is really helpful in early infections of the respiratory tract is what's been noted in research. COVID-19, of course, is an upper respiratory tract infection. So of course, we want to be able to support our immune system and our inflammatory response as well as we can. So of course, there are a few ways to help our, restore our immune system and our inflammatory response every day, right? We have lots of things then lots of gems that I like to give away. Bamboo leaf extract. Yep, we're definitely going to get to these gems. Bamboo leaf extract and turmeric, which I've spoken about before, are great to help restore the immune system inflammatory response. That's your takeaway from this. It does help with the expression of, or restoring a healthy amount of expression of IL-6 or interleukin-6, which is our on switch for our inflammatory and immune response. It's pro-inflammatory, which is really good. We want to have inflammation and our immune system turn on when we're exposed to these things, but we want it to be at a healthy level, not to be over aggressive. So that's the kind of the takeaway from that. So some other gems, I love, oh, look at the ruby, it's so pretty, good color, Craig. Some of these other gems that I like to give to my patients during this time and during any time, of course. Health shouldn't be something that we look at when there's a pandemic like this. Health should be something that, Ron says it, health is a habit, right? So health is a habit, health is a lifestyle. We should be taking care of ourselves all the time, not when something like this comes along and we scramble and think, okay, now what do I do? No, we want to constantly take care of ourselves. This is the only body we have. We want to make sure that it functions at that high level so we can do all the things, as I always say. And make sure that we can fight these things off. There's going to be times where we do get sick, and that's okay, but we want to make sure that it's on the milder side and we don't deal with these severity cases. So some other gems that I like to give some of my patients, of course, make sure that you speak with your primary care physician on certain dosages and make sure that it's okay for you to take these things. But this is just a couple of gems on my behalf. Vitamin D3, as we know, it supports the immune system. I tell my patients to take 10,000 IUs per day, especially during this time, but I'm monitoring their vitamin D levels. Make sure that you are doing the same. Zinc is really great, especially for this COVID-19. Make sure you're taking adequate amount of zinc. Find out from your healthcare provider what that means for you. Vitamin C helps support a healthy immune response and supports the immune system. Elderberry extract, which is great for the lungs. Of course, we know if any little kids have coughs or anything, we're trying to give them the little elderberry gummies and things to help support that. Some other things that we can do, wash your hands, guys, of course. Make sure that you always have something like this at the house or your soap and warm water aggressively for sing happy birthday a couple times, as we know, as we're told as a kid. Wash your hands, exercise, even if it's at home. If you have to stay at home, fine. It's okay to still exercise. Do those deep breathing exercises while you're at home. Take some deep breaths. As we know, our body needs sunshine, food, and oxygen, especially with our mitochondria. They need all those things to do all the things that they need to do on a daily basis, all those 250 plus biochemical processes. Hydrate, water. So with this particular virus, it does like cold. So we are saying no ice water, to do room temperature or even warmer water if you'd like. You're supposed to drink half of your weight in ounces every single day. Fill up a cup. Try not to use plastic if possible, stainless steel, glass, anything like that. Make sure you always have water with you, not ice cold, something that you can drink and you can drink quite a bit of. Squirt some lemon in there if you would like as well. Use some Himalayan sea salt or some Redmond sea salt or something in there also to kind of help with absorption of your nutrients and such as well. Take the proper precautions, right? So make sure that you're keeping your social distancing, of course, as they're saying. And if you think that you know somebody who has any kind of symptoms, of course, try to stay away from them. If you have particular symptoms, please try to isolate yourself from others. We want to slow the progression down of this disease. We want to make sure that they are projecting do not come true. Of course, they're projecting very high numbers, and we really hope that we don't see that. We hope that we can get people to restore their immune and inflammatory response, to be healthy, and to get past this. It's going to take some time, but taking your nutrition is one amazing way to help support your wellness, your immune, your inflammatory response. Whether you have this genetic variant or not is irrelevant. Taking this is going to absolutely help with your how your body responds to certain things, and hopefully keep our immune system at a healthy rate. So that way, if and when we are exposed to any of these virus, bacteria, fungus, trauma, any of those things, that our body knows properly what to do with it and doesn't get into a state of pandemic itself, where it goes, I don't know what to do. One other thing I tell my patients, make sure that you try not to stress. Try to go through those stress relieving thing. I know it's a stressful time for a lot of people. It really is. Stress weakens the immune system. It raises your cortisol levels. It puts your body into fight or flight. If we can create more of a balanced response, which I understand right now, sometimes it can be tough for a lot of people, and my thoughts and prayers are out to all of you. But if we can create more of a healthy environment, a healthy host, right, environment for ourselves, then anything that comes at us, our body can combat as well as it possibly can. So make sure you eat healthy foods, eat all the greens, stay away from fast foods, all that places, it's off limits right now anyway, right? Just kind of say, you know what, I can't go there, so I'm not going to do it. Try to cook more at home and things like that. I know I'm running out of time, so I have a couple more things. There's a great pre-screening tool that I was able to review by Johns Hopkins University. If there is a concern, you can use this online tool as a guide. It is not a diagnostic tool. You can go to screencovid.org. I have a little quote on there as well, and you can actually take this quiz or give it to people. It uses a point system to see if it's something you need to reach out to a healthcare provider, or if it's something that you just need to isolate yourself, take care of yourself, and hope that those symptoms don't progress any further. So don't forget to take your nutrition, guys. You are way ahead of most people by just supporting your body with the proper nutrients. So remember that you're kind of ahead of the game. So with that said, I of course wish you all well. Take care of yourselves and your families. These can be very tough times for many people. We're here to support and help. We want to support how your body reacts to these exogenous threats. And we want to be here mentally for you guys as well, to be a support team. Be a powerhouse, that's right, kick more ass. And next time, guess what we get to discuss? How you are one bad MTHFR. That's right, one of my favorites. So we'll discuss MTHFR next time. We'll discuss when that's going to be. I don't know if I have the exact date yet. Craig, I don't know if you do either.
No, not yet, but we'll make sure we let everybody know out on Facebook and email when we get to see Dr. Jen again. Dr. Jen, as usual, amazing information, so much activity on our threads. We so appreciate you, your expertise, your wisdom, your friendship. I think we all count you as friends. We're big fans. Dr. Jen, please stay well and healthy. And to all of you, welcome to Euphoria, where being you never felt better. We'll see you again real soon, Dr. Jen. Thanks again.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you all.